And not a single Beyonce in sight. Donald Trump is in Madison Square Gardens tonight doing a rally. Here we were 8 days before Election Day to a packed and overfilled house. 94,000 are at President Trump's rally in Madison Square Gardens. It is at max capacity of 19,500, and there are 75,000 people outside. This morning at because we were at a tournament early. It was like 4:30, 5 o'clock. There were reports of people camping outside of Madison Square Gardens, waiting for him to show up, waiting to get in. They weren't waiting for Beyonce, and they weren't waiting for Lizzo. Donald Trump, he's not alone at this rally. Rudy Giuliani showed up, even though they took his apartment and pretty much everything he owns this week. And Dark Mega himself, Elon Musk. Now, the rally's still going on. It's live everywhere on X. Hell, it might even still be live here on TikTok. Madison Square Gardens comes just a few days after Donald Trump went on a podcast and dropped their podcast with Joe Rogan, which ironically dropped the same night that Kamala Harris held her Beyonce rally. You know, where everybody showed up expecting Beyonce to do a concert, and then she spoke for 2 minutes and left. Rumor on the street is she got $5 million a minute. People left and they were super pissed. They took to social media because they went for a concert. The Rogan podcast dropping and Kamala Harris's Beyonce at her rally on the same night was not coincidental. Joe Rogan and Trump had over 10 million views. Now, these numbers were from yesterday, so keep that in mind. 10 million views, and Kamala and Beyonce had 500,000 views. And he took them from CNN and then the Joe Rogan podcast on YouTube. This was yesterday. It's probably way more now, but we had a busy weekend, so I'm a little slow on the uptake. Listen to the Joe Rogan podcast with Donald Trump. I would highly encourage you to do so. It's 3 hours long. I listened to it all the way to Des Moines, some parts while we were in Des Moines, and then finally finished it on the way back. Don't read the articles that break it down, whether they're from the right-leaning media or the left. Don't read those. Go listen to it, and you get to hear like an entirely different kind of conversation come from Donald Trump, with the energy mirroring Rogan's interview style. It's very, very good. They talk about aliens, they talk about big pharma, they talk about the border, they talk a lot about Kamala, he talks about Joe, he talks about his plan for tariffs, and he kind of breaks down what that's going to look like. I thought it was super good. And then when I was done with that podcast, I listened to Theo Vaughn and JD Vance, which was also really, really good. Listen to that one too. We're gonna win, but then we gotta make it to January. We gotta get to January.